But one of the real interesting parts about the Kenny Chesney tour was we were having lunch, and Taylor is a student. She always wanted to learn. She would spend time talking to Brad about the business. She would start talking to Brad about how do you pick the visual, how do you do these things. She was always curious about the business side, and it was no different when we were out with Kenny as we started talking about the business. And Kenny started sharing stories with her about the best way to tell the impact that you're having is by how much merchandise you're selling. He said, because when you're an opening act, most of the time no one's there to see you. So they've got a certain amount of money they can spend on beer. They got a certain amount of money they can spend on food. They have a certain amount of money they can spend on merch. Normally they're going to spend it on the headliner. He says, when you, as an opening act, can start getting in that $3 to $4 range. So as I explained earlier, in case you missed it or it went right over your head, for an opening act, 35 cents is a good indicator of per head. So 1,000 people in the room, 35 cents, $350. So if you make $350 of getting money from people that weren't there to see you or people that you transform, everyone thinks it's great. Taylor was now starting to get to that $12 and $13 a head. So if there were 1,000 people in the room, she was doing $12,000. If there were 1,000 people, she was doing 13. So people were really starting to see, and that's how they would help pick their openers for the next year, is to say who can sell tickets, who's moving merch. So once she learned all the parameters and what people looked for, that's where the attention came. That's where she would start promoting merch from the stage. That's where she talks about buying my CD. She had no problem asking people for the sale.